Imagine this. You're in the middle of a heated situation, maybe a high-stakes negotiation, a toxic argument, or a job that's draining the life out of you. Every instinct screams to push harder, fight back, or hold on. But then, in a moment of profound clarity, you do something unexpected. You walk away. You turn your back on the noise, the conflict, the temptation, and in doing so, you seize incredible power. This is the power of walking away, and it might just be the ultimate move for your peace and purpose in life. Walking away isn't about giving up or showing weakness. On the contrary, it can be the boldest demonstration of strength and self-control. In this video, we'll explore why sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to step back and disengage. We'll draw on timeless Stoic wisdom and share real-life examples of modern people who used Stoic discipline to walk away from money, fame, and conflict, and emerged stronger. Stay with us, because by the end you'll understand how knowing when to walk away can transform your life. Why walking away can be powerful. Walking away is often misunderstood. Society sometimes labels it as quitting or losing, but in reality, walking away can be a power move, a strategic reset that protects your integrity and well-being. Consider these truths about walking away. It puts you in control. When you walk away, you assert control over yourself. You're saying, "This doesn't control me, I control me." In negotiations, it's well known that if you can't walk away, you can't negotiate. The willingness to walk away gives you leverage and self-respect. You're no longer a hostage to the outcome. It protects your peace. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every insult or invitation to conflict deserves your energy. Sometimes the best answer is to not answer at all. By walking away from pointless fights, drama, or toxic situations, you guard your inner peace. As the Stoics understood, external chaos can't disturb you if you refuse to engage with it. It signals self-worth. Walking away from a bad deal, a toxic relationship, or an unethical job sends a powerful message. I know my worth and my values. It takes courage to say, "No, this isn't good enough for me," and to stand firm. Paradoxically, others often gain respect for you when they see you won't settle or be manipulated. It's an act of discipline. Our impulses often urge us to chase approval, money, or to win every argument. Walking away runs counter to those impulses. It's a disciplined choice to prioritize long-term well-being over short-term gratification. It requires strength to override ego and desire. In essence, walking away is about choosing your battles wisely. It's recognizing that your time, energy, and dignity are finite resources not to be squandered. This wisdom is at the heart of Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to discern what truly matters and to let go of the rest. Stoic wisdom, knowing when to let go. The ancient Stoic philosophers were masters of endurance and perseverance, but they also taught the wisdom of letting go. Stoicism isn't about grinding yourself to dust against unwinnable battles. It's about focusing on what's within your control and relinquishing attachment to what isn't. As the Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." In other words, everything around us is in flux, and often the only thing we truly command is our own mindset. So what did the Stoics say about walking away? They recognized that sometimes the most rational action is to withdraw. Marcus Aurelius advised himself to avoid wasting time on unnecessary conflict. In Meditations, he famously reminds us, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Think about that. Instead of lowering yourself to retaliate or continue a feud, you simply refuse to mirror the bad behavior. You walk away with your principles intact. That, Marcus says, is the best revenge. Not revenge at all, but integrity. Another Stoic, Epictetus, taught that our reactions matter more than what happens. "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters," he said. If a situation provokes anger, fear, or greed in us, we have a choice. We can react impulsively, or we can step back, walk away, and retain our inner freedom. To the Stoics, Walking away wasn't cowardice. It was often wisdom and self-mastery. It meant refusing to be a slave to external circumstances or the passions of the moment. The Stoics believed in applying judgment to every challenge. Is this within my control? Is this aligned with virtue? If the answer was no, they felt no shame in disengaging. As Seneca put it, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, implying that much of our torment comes from clinging mentally to troubles we should release. Not every battle is worth fighting. Consider a trivial but common scenario, an internet argument. Someone is wrong on the internet, and your pride itches to correct them. You spend hours trading barbs, only to end up frustrated and emotionally exhausted. What if you had just walked away? No lengthy argument, no stress, just a decision that this fight wasn't worth your peace. The Stoics would applaud this. They believed in conserving energy for what truly matters, our character, our loved ones, our duties, not ego battles. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus advised his students to be selective about their engagements. He likened life to a banquet. If a dish passes you by, let it pass. If it's offered, take a modest portion, but don't grasp for it. In the same way, if an opportunity for conflict or excess comes, you don't have to seize it. You can let it go. You can remain calm and unattached. Walking away, then, is an exercise in Stoic virtue. It requires prudence, knowing what is and isn't worth your while; temperance, restraining the impulse to jump in; courage, facing the momentary discomfort of stepping back or being misunderstood; and justice, doing right by yourself and others in the long run. It's a move that says, I value my principles and well-being over this fleeting temptation or tussle. Walking away versus giving up, the key difference. Let's address a crucial point. Walking away is not the same as giving up. How do we tell the difference? It lies in your intention and the situation. Giving up is quitting because something is hard or because of fear. It often comes with regret or shame. It's running away from growth. Walking away, in the sense we mean, is a conscious choice made from strength. It's deciding that a situation is unjust, unproductive, or harmful, and choosing a better path. It comes with peace of mind, knowing you stayed true to yourself. Think of it this way. Stoicism doesn't encourage us to abandon our duties or to shirk challenges that can make us better. Stoic walking away is about discernment. It's about saying no when saying yes would violate your integrity or sanity. It's the ultimate move because it's not reactive surrender. It's proactive self-respect. For example, walking away might mean leaving a high-paying job that forces you to compromise your ethics, ending a friendship that is consistently toxic and draining, stepping back from a deal that sounds lucrative but feels wrong in your gut, disengaging from an argument that is going nowhere and only breeding bad blood. In each case, you're not losing. You're choosing yourself over the chaos. There's immense power in that choice. It's like a master chess player who sometimes sacrifices a piece to win the match. At times, your best move is to remove yourself from the board momentarily. And sometimes, walking away is temporary, a strategic retreat to gather yourself. Other times it's permanent, closing one door so another can open. In both cases, it's an active decision, not a passive forfeit. Remember this whenever someone tries to conflate your healthy boundaries with quitting. You know your motive. You are acting out of strength and wisdom, not fear. Now that we've explored the philosophy, let's look at some real-life examples of walking away in action. These are people from recent times, not ancient sages, who embodied this Stoic discipline. Their stories prove that the power of walking away is just as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. Modern examples of Stoic resolve in walking away. Dave Chappelle, principal over $50 million. In 2004, comedian Dave Chappelle was on top of the world. His show, Chappelle's Show, was a smash hit. Comedy Central offered him a $50 million contract to continue for a third season. Think about that. $50 million, fame, success, beyond imagination. Most people would never walk away from that. But Dave Chappelle did. At the height of his success, he stunned everyone by walking away from the show and the money, even flying to South Africa to escape the spotlight. Why would anyone do this? Chappelle later explained that the stress and the direction of the show didn't feel right to him. He felt the comedy was edging into something that conflicted with his values and well-being. Rather than compromise who he was or produce work he couldn't stand behind, he chose to leave. His decision meant walking away from a $50 million contract and disappointing many fans and colleagues. There was backlash. People called him crazy or ungrateful. But in true Stoic fashion, Chappelle put principle and mental health above external success. The result? After some years of personal growth and reflection, Dave Chappelle returned to comedy on his own terms. He is now widely respected not just for his talent, but for having the conviction to say, "Enough. My integrity isn't for sale." His walk-away move became legendary, a modern story of values over wealth. Chappelle demonstrated that sometimes walking away is the ultimate power move. It's better to lose a deal than lose yourself. Simone Biles, protecting the self over glory. In the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, held in 2021, Simone Biles, the most decorated gymnast in the world, did something unheard of. Under the weight of enormous expectations, she started struggling with a dangerous mental block known as the twisties, which meant she lost her sense of orientation during flips. Rather than push through and risk severe injury or cost her team a medal, Biles withdrew from multiple Olympic finals. In essence, she walked away from the chance of more gold medals, not because she couldn't physically continue at all costs, but because she wisely chose not to. This was a shocking decision to many. Some critics initially accused her of quitting, but Biles later reflected on her choice and called it "my biggest win." She said, "Walking away from the Olympic Games was a win in itself. Walking out of it was my biggest win, because she chose herself over others' expectations." Simone Biles prioritized her mental health and safety above the glory that everyone else wanted for her. "My mind and body were not in sync," she explained, "and the only thing to do to avoid hurting myself and risking the team's success was to walk away." In that crucial moment, she had the Stoic wisdom to realize, this competition is an external thing. Medals are externals, but my well-being and integrity, those are internal and mine. Biles's decision, far from being cowardly, was immensely courageous. She later acknowledged it as probably the most courageous I've ever been. By walking away, she sparked a global conversation about mental health in sports. She showed athletes and non-athletes alike that sometimes saying, "No, I need to step back," is a sign of strength, not weakness. Just as a Stoic would, she ignored the insults and stood by her decision, finding peace in knowing she did what was right for her soul. This is the power of walking away. It can inspire others to value health and sanity over societal pressure. Brian Acton, integrity over $850 million. You may not know the name Brian Acton, but if you use messaging apps, you've felt his impact. He's the co-founder of WhatsApp. In 2014, Acton and his partner sold WhatsApp to Facebook for a staggering $19 billion, with the promise that WhatsApp would remain secure and ad-free. A few years later, Acton faced a grave ethical dilemma. Facebook, now Meta, wanted to monetize WhatsApp in ways that violated the privacy promises made to users, essentially by introducing targeted ads and possibly weakening encryption. Acton believed in privacy and the original mission of WhatsApp. So in 2017, he did the unthinkable. He walked away from Facebook, resigning from his own company. This move cost him $850 million in unvested stock options that he left on the table. Let that sink in. Nearly $1 billion gone because he chose integrity over money. Acton later confirmed why he left. He didn't like Facebook's plans and would not be complicit in compromising user trust. In a very stoic manner, he decided that no amount of money was worth doing something he felt was wrong. His personal principles, honesty, respect for privacy, were not for sale. Brian Acton's departure sent ripples through the tech world. He even publicly supported the number delete Facebook movement when Facebook's practices came under fire. Here's a modern multimillionaire who could have quietly stayed, cashed in, and lived comfortably. Instead, he walked away and invested $50 million of his own money to support an alternative privacy-focused messenger. This is Stoic fortitude in action, living by your values, regardless of reward or punishment. Acton gained something priceless, a clear conscience. His story teaches us that walking away from fortune can be a greater triumph than acquiring it, if that fortune conflicts with your virtue. Dolly Parton, holding firm to values against a legend. Let's switch to the music world. The year was 1974. Country singer-songwriter Dolly Parton had a hit song, "I Will Always Love You." It caught the attention of none other than Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. Elvis wanted to record Dolly's song. Imagine, Elvis Presley covering your tune. It's almost a guaranteed smash hit and could skyrocket royalties and fame. Dolly was thrilled until Elvis's infamous manager, Colonel Tom Parker, called with a demand. He told her that for Elvis to record the song, she'd have to sign over half of the publishing rights to them. In plain terms, Dolly Parton would lose half the song's future earnings and control in exchange for the honor of Elvis singing it. This was a crossroads. Most artists at the time would have said yes to Elvis, no matter the cost. But Dolly Parton walked away from the deal. She said, "I'm really sorry, but I can't do that." That decision broke her heart. She famously admitted, "I cried all night after turning Elvis down." It felt like the worst decision in the world at the time. But she stuck to it because she knew the value of her work and her principles. Dolly wasn't willing to give up control of her song, no matter who asked, not even Elvis. What happened next? Elvis never recorded the song. It might have seemed like a loss. But holding on to her rights proved a genius move. Years later, in 1992, Whitney Houston's version of "I Will Always Love You" for the Bodyguard soundtrack became one of the biggest hits of all time. It spent 14 weeks at #1 and earned Dolly Parton millions, while she retained full ownership. Dolly's choice to walk away turned out to be incredibly profitable in the long run, but she couldn't have known that in 1974. What she did know was her gut feeling and her right to her own art. Dolly Parton's story shows that walking away may hurt in the short term. It may involve sacrifice and doubt, but if done for the right reasons, it pays off in ways beyond money. It pays off in self-respect and, in this case, in eventual reward too. Dolly often laughs about it now, saying how glad she is that she kept her song. This example teaches us, don't be so hungry for opportunity that you sell yourself short. The power of walking away is in knowing that no deal, no person, no opportunity is worth more than your self-worth. Andrew Luck, life over football. In 2019, NFL quarterback Andrew Luck shocked the sports world. At only 29 years old, entering what could have been the prime of his career, Luck announced his retirement from professional football. He had been the #1 draft pick in 2012, a superstar destined for the Hall of Fame. Yet, after a series of brutal injuries and relentless rehab, he realized the NFL life was dominating and damaging him. He said simply, "I'm in pain." Instead of clinging to the glory and multi-million-dollar contracts, Andrew Luck walked away from the game, and with it, an estimated tens of millions of dollars still on the table. In fact, had he continued playing for many years, he might have earned over $100 million more. He chose not to. Fans were stunned. Some even booed him at the stadium when news broke. They couldn't comprehend why someone would leave fame and fortune. But Luck's reasoning was stoic, whether he knew it or not. He refused to let the expectations of others trap him in an unhealthy life. He famously said that if his worth as a person was tied only to wins and losses, he'd have a shitty life. In other words, he saw a bigger picture. Football was something he did, not who he was. By walking away, he reclaimed his identity and his future happiness. Sports writer Kevin Clark wrote, He made the courageous choice. He walked away from glory, fame, and money because he was honest with himself. This is a beautiful summary of the power of walking away. Andrew Luck was honest about what football was costing him, physically and mentally, and he had the courage to depart on his own terms. Today, Luck leads a quieter life, one that by all accounts he finds more fulfilling. His story echoes the Stoic lesson. External achievements are mere bonus, not the essence of a good life. Sometimes you walk away not because you can't keep going, but because you decide that what you're walking toward, health, family, peace, is far more important. Everyday Stoicism, choosing your battles. You've heard these high-profile stories, but the power of walking away isn't just for celebrities, athletes, or tech founders. It's for all of us, every single day. The next time you face a situation that tests you, try applying these Stoic strategies to decide whether to engage or to walk away. 1. Check the control factor. Ask yourself, is this something within my control? If not, consider walking away emotionally. For example, if you're stuck in a delayed flight or traffic jam, getting angry won't change it. Walk away from the anger, as in, let it go internally. Focus on what you can control, perhaps your own breathing or listening to an audiobook. Why suffer twice, as Stoics would say, once from the event, once from your reaction? 2. Examine your values. Does staying in this situation compromise your core values or mental health? If you find yourself in a workplace that asks you to lie, or in a friend circle that pressures you to act against your character, it might be time to walk away. Remember Brian Acton and Dolly Parton, no short-term gain is worth long-term integrity. As Marcus Aurelius would remind us, waste no time on things that don't make you a good person. Instead, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Sometimes being a good person means leaving a bad scene. 3. Assess the cost, emotional and physical. Is fighting this battle harming your well-being? Sometimes we stay engaged out of pride and we don't notice the damage until we're burned out or ill. Stoicism teaches moderation and care of the self as an instrument of virtue. If a relationship consistently makes you feel worthless, step back. If social media use leaves you anxious and angry every day, consider walking away from those platforms or curating them heavily. Protect your mind as a Stoic would guard a fortress. 4. Envision the outcome. Take a moment to envision what happens if you continue versus if you walk away. Project a year into the future. Will continuing this fight, this resentment, or this pursuit matter? Or will walking away free you to pursue something better? Many of our heroes today, like the ones we discussed, walked away because they envisioned a truer, more meaningful life on the other side. Dare to imagine a better outcome by letting go of what's holding you back. 5. Practice small walkaways. If walking away doesn't come naturally to you, train it like a muscle. You can start small. For one day, decide not to respond to any political rants online, or take a break from a habitual temptation, like walk away from junk food for a week to practice self-discipline. Notice how empowering it feels. The more you realize you're capable of saying no thanks, the more you can apply it to bigger things when needed. Stoics often practiced voluntary hardship, like fasting or cold baths, to learn that they could be happy with less and walk away from comforts. You can do similar with modern twists to build that inner strength. Remember, walking away isn't about turning your back on life. It's about engaging with life on your terms, guided by wisdom. It's choosing the higher ground, the path of virtue, or simply your own peace over needless turmoil. Conclusion: the ultimate move. Every day we are faced with choices to fight, to flee, or to wisely withdraw. The power of walking away is knowing when and how to wisely withdraw, not out of fear, but out of strength. It's the ultimate move because it requires self-awareness, courage, and trust in yourself. As we've seen, from Stoic philosophers to modern heroes, those who master this art hold a special kind of power, the power over their own lives. They cannot be easily bullied, tempted, or trapped, because their sense of worth comes from within, not from the trophies or approval others dangle in front of them. Ask yourself, where in my life do I need to make the ultimate move? It could be something big or small. Whatever it is, know that you have the strength to do it. As Seneca said, as long as you live, keep learning how to live. And sometimes learning how to live means learning how to leave, gracefully, confidently, and never looking back. Now, armed with these insights, it's your turn. Have the courage to walk away when you need to. Protect your peace. Uphold your values. In doing so, you're not just escaping negativity, you're making space for better things to come. Remember, every ending is a new beginning. If this video resonated with you, make the powerful choice to support your own growth. Subscribe to the Be Stoic channel for more wisdom on living a tranquil, purposeful life. Hit the like button and share this message with someone who might need the encouragement to walk away from whatever weighs them down. And be sure to check out our other videos. Each one is a step on the path to a stronger, calmer you. Thank you for watching to the end. Stay strong, stay true to yourself, and remember, sometimes the ultimate power move is knowing when to walk away.